And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Toilets to Titles. This is going to be a cold opening. As you can tell, Jason is not here to run the show, so it's going to be a little bit different today. We're going to have some fun. We're all going to be merry. We're all going to be jolly. Let's go ahead and start the show. And welcome into Title Time. I am your host, George Reed. I am filling in. Typically, I would say he has big pants to fill, but we have to question Mark when he finally decides to join us to find out if Jason truly has big pants to fill or not. I'm going to be hosting today. With me is always my brother from another mother. We like to call him Mom. Justin, how are you doing this morning?
Hi, I'm doing very good. I've been doing some drywall work around the house this morning, so I appreciate this break.
Somebody who has to deal with that crap on an almost daily basis, it is very nice to take a break. I can appreciate that very much. Next, we're gonna slide down to the bald-headed, mitted, wandering man himself. David, how you doing this morning?
I am tired. The babies have had me up every hour, just about all night. Kira finally has her first tooth popping through. Bubby's had his for two or 3 months now, so she's catching up. But she's miserable about it. They just popped in one day, and he was like, "Hey, cool, I got teeth." Not her. She's been up every hour, and it's been lovely.
It's funny because it's those little things that people will say, "Oh, you're gonna miss this. You're gonna miss this." No, you don't. You know this. We all know this. None of us miss those days with the kids finally getting their teeth and keeping you up all hours of the night. There are things you are going to miss that you're not. The only thing you're missing there is sleep.
Yeah, Bubby's been a drooler since he's just about been 2 months old. I mean, a lot. And I thought at first it was just his teeth coming in, but he still drools all the time. He does not. And I'm like, I'm not going to miss the drool. Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Rich, good morning, my friend. Good morning, my brother. What do you miss about kids being little? What should I say? What don't you miss?
Well, man, I'll tell you what. I mean, I got a grandbaby now, so I'm going through it again and everything. So my little one, my little grandson, he's teething and stuff like that. So I don't know if they've broken through yet. But he's been very pleasant. He hasn't been fussy to a certain degree or anything like that. I really don't miss anything, to be honest with you.
If you want, David will trade with you. He'll gladly swap kids with you for just a couple of days to give himself a little reprieve and break from having to deal with it.
Well, the good thing about it is obviously I'm the grandfather and I got my wife and the family around, so I don't have to do anything. I just hold them every once in a while. If my wife is holding a baby and he starts whining because he needs I yell my daughter. I go, Cicely! Or if someone needs to change a diaper, I'm yelling somebody's name. Now, I will say this. I did change his diaper one time already for the first time. I think it was last weekend. And it went very pleasantly. So usually I'm gagging and I'm that kind of person where I'm gagging and stuff like that, but it didn't happen this time. So
I think you misunderstood. I'm not trading the babies for another baby. I'm trading them for your kid. So I want Keegan for a week and you take the baby. I got some work on the roof that needs done. I could send him up there,
Well, a fee comes with that, okay? One last thing. I've been wanting to say this for a while and stuff because I know George and Jason, they're big on this and stuff like that, but when eventually are we going to switch Justin from mom to dad?
That's a good question.
That's what I asked several weeks ago, and I've still never really gotten a response. And the closest response I got was Jason saying that this is permanent for me being mom. So I guess I'm just a single mom. I don't know.
So I'm a big tradition guy, and traditionally we've called Justin mom. and I don't like to change tradition or break tradition. Like, I feel like that's bad juju.
All right. Sorry, Mom.
So we're Mom, it is. So we're gonna go ahead and get into some of these questions. Actually, before we get into the questions, we're gonna play a game. This is gonna be a fun game, by the way. Typically, we go in and we ask, everybody pick a game of the week and give us a score and who's going to win and lose. And we're still going to do that. Don't get me wrong. But I added another game just for today's show. David, I'm going to go to you first. In what way will the Bears lose today?
This is not fair because I actually picked them to win.
Pretend you didn't pick them to win. We're trying to set Krana up this way. If and when the Bears lose, he's expecting it to be some sort of bad way.
Okay, so they're going to be ahead by 6, and they're going to try to kneel the ball down and bobble the snap, and San Fran's going to pick it up and run it in for the touchdown and the extra point win.
All right, Rich, we're going to go to you next. In what way will the Bears lose this week?
Surprisingly, out of nowhere, they say McCaffrey is going to go for the game, and he comes in and runs all over them.
Justin, do you want to get in on this? We're trying to help Krana here. In what way will the Bears lose this week?
It's pretty simple. Eberflus got fired. They're not going to lose. I know that I'm not playing along with the game very well, but
You're not.
I'm sorry. They're not going to.
I took them to win too, and I made up the scenario. I'm just saying.
So I'm going to kind of go along the way of what David said, but I'm going to go. The Bears are going to be up. The 49ers are going to be out of timeouts. They're going to be in kill the clock mode. It's going to be like 30 seconds left. They have to snap the ball and get a first down in order to prevent themselves from having to punt the ball back to San Francisco. And what they're going to do is they're going to fumble the handoff on the run. It's going to be picked up and returned the other way for a touchdown. Not necessarily the kneel down. It's going to be a fumble on a handoff.
All right. So this is a fun game, so I'm going to go ahead and join. So I feel like it's going to be the Bears are actually going to win the game on a very late, like inside of 30 seconds, touchdown. They're going to take the lead by 2 or 3. But that long touchdown play that went to like DJ Moore or Keenan Allen or whatever will be called back due to a holding penalty. And then they're going to end up losing because of the holding penalty. Like they would have won had it not been a holding call.
So we're getting a couple of comments on this. As a Bears fan, this question is insulting. I'm sorry, Chris, but don't blame us, okay? We have to blame the Bears. Jason said Caleb's nail polish comes out of his Merce on the field, and DJ Moore slips on it and fumbles the ball. And we want to thank Jason for his contribution this week of $1.99.
That puts his start-sit questions right up to the top.
It does. So let's get into games of the week. I know Jason had sent his in earlier, and I'll pull it up. I'm gonna allow him to have the first one, seeing he's not here. This way, nobody else takes his game of the week. Let me see what he had. This is why nobody wants to host. Jason's taking the Vikings over the Falcons. So we'll go ahead and let Jason keep the Vikings over the Falcons. That's going to be his game this week. Rich, let's start with you.
What was the score?
He didn't give us a score.
Let's go,
Jason. We know you're watching. Give us a score. Though he shouldn't be watching. He's at the Disney MGM Studios celebrating his son's birthday. So we won't get any comments from Eli. Jason, you should be watching. Should be enjoying time with your family. I know you're waiting in a long line right now to get into Tron, so go ahead and give us a score, even though you shouldn't be. Rich, we're going to go with you. Game of the week for you.
Yeah, isn't it interesting that for week 14, how important it is, and they throw all these buys out as there ain't really that many interesting games this week. I mean, maybe I'm just not looking at it. I mean, I would love to be able to say my Raiders-Buccaneers game, but
Jason's not here. Listen, I'm changing the rules because apparently that's what the host is allowed to do. Justin changes the rules when he hosts. Jason's not here. He's not hosting. Rich, you can take any game on the slate. I don't care what game it is.
Yeah, but in the spirit of tradition, like what we talked about calling mom, I am going to go with the Buffalo Bills and the Rams game. I know Mark would appreciate me pulling this game up and everything. So obviously, Rams are fighting to get it, still be in the playoffs and everything. I don't know. This is going to be a good game. It's going to be in the Rams, so I feel like this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think the Buffalo Bills defense, as good as it's been, I think they take a step back today and everything, and this is going to be an interesting game. So I am going to call the Rams with the upset. They are favored at plus 3.5.
All right, we got Rich with the Rams taking the upset here. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm attracted to that orange sweater. Go ahead, David.
I mean, this feels wrong just to say it because it is the game of the week, but it's the Chargers and the Chiefs. Every time these two get together, Mahomes and Herbert, it's fireworks, it's lightning, and it might be different this year. Herbert's in a new system. Mahomes is throwing more interceptions than he ever has before. And that's why I think the Chargers are going to win it. They have an elite defense, and I think and the offense has stepped up now. So were you hoping I took the Chiefs so you could take the Chargers?
Yeah, because that was going to be my game of the week too, and I wanted the Chargers. But you're good. Go ahead. I got another one.
Go ahead. I was going to say I was attracted to the orange beard that David had, but then Justin could, he'd yell at me for that because his is orange and gray as well.
Well, mine's 50% gray too, though, so it would have been fine.
When I grow mine out, you can see it a little bit, like right over here. It's got some gray coming in, but yeah.
I go with silver and black.
I will say I would like to say the Steelers this week, but I don't want to curse us, and that's why I didn't take your new rule into effect. Otherwise, I would have picked them.
Justin, Colts are on a bye. So you can't take your team either.
I wouldn't anyway. So so actually for me, it is that Bears and 49ers game, to be honest with you. I think because there is still some fantasy implications there, because a lot of people spent a lot of fab on Isaac Guerrero this week, and we still have a whole lot of shares of one of the most popular, most asked players on this start-sit show, in Juwan Jennings. We don't know what Purdy's going to be like. He's still coming back from that shoulder injury. I think this is a really good game for the 49ers to try to right the ship and try to look right. And it's a good game for the Bears to try to bounce back without their coach holding them back, see what they have in the new interim coach. And I think it's just going to be a fun game to watch. But I think at the end of the day, I have the Bears actually winning this one. I'm going to go 26 to say, so let's go 26 to 20.
By a touchdown. All right. And so that leaves me on the last pick. I'm going to go with a divisional game here. I like when division teams play each other. They're always typically very good games. I'm going to go Seahawks, Cardinals, Battle of the Birds down in Arizona. I think that game is going to be a much better game than a lot of people anticipate. I am going to take the Seahawks on the road over the Cardinals, and I'll go, 24-17. So those are our picks for the day. Let's get into some of these questions now that we've killed enough time.
Hey,
yes, go ahead.
Jason added to our conversation about the Bears there, Jason Watson, right underneath of his donation. That's a pretty good one, too.
Let's see. Bears get a bad call in their favor, and the first time ever the NFL overturns the call after the game unless the 49ers win. That's a pretty good one, too. Yes, thank you for bringing that up because I'm at the top here. I didn't see it down there. That's a good one.
Like they don't get credit for the win until tomorrow.
The play is under review, and the review just takes 24 hours. No, neither team is allowed to go home until the game is over. All right, let's jump into all these questions we got here. Trying to ask, even though it's meaningless and could be maybe be a low-scoring game, excited for the Bears 49ers with no Bosa. Cross the fingers, the Bears pull off a sneaky win. Listen, the Bears haven't been able to pull off a sneaky anything this year. All their losses have been, well, not all of them, but the last few have been extremely obvious because of the way that they've fallen. He's got Bucky, Connor, or Pollard, RB2 in PPR. And for this one, Justin, you're up there chewing and you're nodding. I'm not going to pull a Jason and go to you first. I'll allow you to finish chewing, and we'll go to Rich first.
Yeah, so Bucky, Connor, or Pollard, man. As much as I love Connor, and he's been very well for me in some of my leagues. Bucky playing against the Las Vegas Raiders just sounds plentiful of fantasy points for him. Now the defense has stepped up in the Raiders, even last week against. They had a good game and stuff like that, but it comes more in the passing game as far as like really stepping up and everything. I know I've said this over and over again. You can run on the Raiders, so I'm going to go with Bucky on this one.
All right, David.
So Bucky's my favorite of these three. Kind of came out of nowhere, wasn't the starter, took over for a guy who I thought was a little bit overrated anyway. But that's the problem. He has two other running backs there, and Bucky's been banged up all week coming in, so they might not run mostly Bucky. They have the luxury of kind of switching it off. I'm going to go with Pollard. The Jacksonville, everything is terrible, so I think that Pollard has a chance to, just salt away the win today. After they go up big because of 3 Westbrook Akine touchdowns.
All right, and Justin.
I'm going to put you on the spot, George, because I'm going Connor here. I know 2 weeks ago, Connor only had 9.9 PPR points against Seattle, but that was he had like 7 carries for 8 yards. They're not going to underutilize him that much again this week. And most of his fantasy points were in the air, which is what you like to see for a fantasy running back in PPR. You want to see the targets more so even than the rushing attempts. But at the same time, he's going to have a lot more than just the 7 attempts. He's going to be mid double digits into the low 20s this time because it didn't work out so well for them last time they faced each other when they kept his carries down. So we're going to see a bounce back for him this week.
So I do have a favorite of these three. I agree with one of you guys, but Mark's here, so I get to be off the hot seat. And Mark, welcome. I'm going to immediately throw you into the hot seat, right into the fire here. Pick one: Bucky, Connor, or Pollard for his RB2 in a PPR.
For me, it's pretty easy. I'm going Bucky. He's just been too hot. I know he has the hip issue, but he's been downplaying. He was downplaying that immediately after the game last week. He missed 2 practices. I think that was just a little rest, make sure he didn't re-aggravate anything. But against the Raiders, I'm going Bucky for sure.
All right. Consensus is Bucky on that one. And for Mark, we're going to go right back to you on this. Pick 2 for PPR: DJ Moore, Ridley, Shakir, or Hopkins.
Definitely Shakir. And I'm going to say Hopkins.
All right. And Justin?
I'm going to go with Ridley and Shakir for this one. Even though you guys know I'm a DJ Moore stan and I like the prospects of having a new coach, but I want to see it first. And then Hopkins is in a great situation in that offense, but I just think the other two, just for this week, schedule-wise and situationally, I want to go with Ridley and Shakir.
David?
I'm going to go with Ridley and Moore. I have seen enough from the Bears offense over the last couple of weeks since they changed their offensive coordinator, no less their head coach. And DJ Moore has been being utilized quite a bit. I think the San Fran defense is banged up. The whole team is banged up. And like I said, I have the Bears winning today. So as much as I like Shakir, I think I'm going to go Ridley and Moore here.
And Mark, who did you say?
I said Shakir and Hopkins.
Okay. And David?
I said Moore and Ridley.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm writing them down. All right. Rich?
Yeah, I am going with Ridley and Moore too. I think Ridley is going to have a huge game today against Jacksonville Jaguars, and just like David said, Moore's been more involved in the offense, and if he's been involved like this from the whole season, we would probably be picking him more times out of 10, more and everything. So that's who I'd be rolling with.
All right. So we have a tie and a confirm. So Ridley is the confirmed start. The tie is DJ Moore and Shakir. I'm going to break this tie. I'm going to go with DJ Moore. I do like the amount of usage that he's had as of late. New coach coming in, probably going to want to try to get the superstar wide receiver, allegedly. I'm not a big DJ Moore guy, but he's the best receiver right now on their team. So probably going to want to get him involved and going often and early. So the way that he's been used, the way after they've had the coaching changes, now they got a new head coach. New OC, I think Moore is going to have a good game, so I would break the tie with Moore. Next one, Ladd McConkey, game time decision, Smitty or BTR in a PPR. And Rich, we'll start with you.
Okay, remind me BTR. I'm drawing a blank.
I think it's Brian. Jr. Yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. from Jacksonville.
And then Smitty, I'm guessing, is
Deontay
not
Smith.
Jonnu Smith, but Devonta Smith.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I remember seeing BTJ, but I don't remember seeing BTR. That's the first time someone threw that at me. So
yeah.
All right. So McConkey game time Smitty. Look, I'm rolling with McConkey. He's been too good to bench and everything. Man, Goddard's out. Yeah, I'm rolling with Smitty. Oh, we just won her.
Yep, it's just one.
Okay, I'm going McConkey. I don't care if it's a game time decision or not. He's going to play.
All right, David?
Listen, I think that I'm going to go McConkey as well because this is going to be a huge Saquon Barkley game against the worst rushing defense in the NFL. But as it would have, I do break football cards over on Facebook, and I just pulled a Devonta Smith on-card auto out of 15 last night. And so I think he's going to have a good game too. But I'm going to go McConkey because I think it's 1,000% a Barkley game for that Eagles game.
And Mark?
So I'd like to go McConkey, but the only way I'm going McConkey is if you have somewhere to pivot for that because it's the 8:00 game. So if you have nowhere to go, I'm not risking a 0 in my lineup. If you have nowhere to go, I'll go Devonta Smith. But if you can find somebody on the waiver wire or somebody you can slide in if McConkey's out, then I'll hold out for him.
And Justin?
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's okay. Well, if you don't really need this win, like if you're already locked into your playoff seed, then yeah, sure, go ahead and go with McConkey. Try to get the big points because there might be a weekly payout or maybe a points for payout. I don't know. Maybe you need the points. I guess it depends on your situation here, but at the end of the day, if you can't risk that 0, don't risk the 0 and go with Smith.
Yeah, I love the prospect of Ladd McConkey, but I agree with Justin and Mark here. For me, it's Smith, especially with no Dallas Goedert. Every time Dallas Goedert's been out, Smith has been highly, highly involved in the offense. So I'm going to go with Smith here. Play it safe. I don't have these two ranked very far apart either. So it's an easy one for me with thinking Smith. Mark, go ahead.
I said that was a sweep. We all want McConkey, and we all agree that's, if McConkey can't go, it's Smitty. So
yeah, but I would play. You got to make the decision early. That's the problem because the Chargers play at 8:00, like Mark said, and the Eagles are playing. I think they play at 1. Yeah, they play at 1:00 against the Panthers. So I'm going to go Smith over McConkey. I love McConkey, but I'm playing it safe, and I'm going to go with Smith as well. David, we'll come right back to you. Mooney or Waddle in a PPR?
Mooney.
Rich? Mooney? Justin?
I love that matchup and for Mooney for sure. So yeah, definitely Mooney.
Mark?
Yeah, Mooney.
For me, just so you know, it would be Waddle, just because I've watched him roast the Jets time and time again. Like, it's nobody's business. He roasts the Jets every time they play. But consensus is Mooney, and I don't hate it. PPR, Garrett Wilson or Keenan Allen? David, we'll go to you first.
This is stupid. It should be Garrett Wilson, but he has a lame duck throwing to him. So I'm going Keenan Allen.
Rich?
It's a stupid question, but it's still Garrett Wilson. I don't care what's going on and stuff like that. Look, does it really matter between these two? I mean,
obviously it does.
Keenan Allen's been having games and stuff like that. I get it, but I never set my people I draft and stuff like that. That's me personally feeling and stuff like that. If you draft well and stuff like that, you have a team that could offset if he has a bad game. One of your players is going to have a game. I hate to have him sitting on the sideline. Devontae Adams has had some good games the last couple of weeks. I see a flip where Garrett Wilson's more involved in this game.
Mark,
I don't know what we're doing here. It's easily Keenan Allen. Like, we're not going to keep sitting. We're going to keep starting Garrett Wilson and keep taking 2s and 3s while Keenan Allen is putting up 20 points a week. Like, we just got done talking about how we're comfortable with DJ Moore now that the Bears are doing something different with their offense. So why can't we be comfortable with Keenan Allen as well? I mean, I think it's pretty easy for Keenan Allen for me.
And Justin?
Yeah, it says PPR. There's no such thing as 2s and 3s for Garrett Wilson. If you look at Keenan Allen's stats, Keenan Allen only has 3 games where he's actually scored in double digits, and all 3 of those games in PPR, all 3 of those games were against Jacksonville, Minnesota, and Detroit. So 3 of the absolute worst secondaries in the league. And this week he faces the 49ers, who are 6th in the league against wide receivers. So it's another tougher matchup for him. He's not getting double digits. So, I mean, if you just go by what they've done so far this season. And then on the flip side, Garrett Wilson, yes, here recently he's had a bit of a schneid, but all the way through week 9, he only had 1 game where he wasn't in double digits. And that was in week 4 against Denver, where he still had 5 catches. It was just only 41 yards. So, the more consistent player here all season has been Garrett Wilson. Lame duck or not, he's getting touchdowns, he's getting receptions, he's getting targets. He still had 10 targets last week. He only caught 5 catches for 41 yards. He had 10 targets against a pretty tough Seattle defense and still got 9.1 PPR points. I'm going Garrett Wilson, and it's not even close.
Board bet?
Yeah, I was going to say, you can throw that on.
Absolutely. All right, so it's me versus you two.
It's Rich and Justin. And then with Garrett Wilson, and then it's Mark and David with Keenan Allen. So I've got to break this tie. And I know for a fact that Storm Duck cannot cover Garrett Wilson. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. There's a reason that guy was an undrafted free agent. Kader Kohu is another guy who was an undrafted free agent who will be seeing a large share of time for the Dolphins. I don't care how bad Aaron Rodgers looks. I mean, listen, we're going to talk about Cortland Sutton later, and we all know his quarterback just sucks. So, but the receiver still puts up points. So I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson. I'm going to break the tie. I'm going to join Justin and Rich with Garrett Wilson on this one.
Okay, Bo Nix or Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, Bo Nix.
Is Cooper Rush available on the waiver wire?
Without a doubt.
I agree, though. I like that.
I just need to know if Cooper Rush is available.
I like it.
Bo Nix is the reason I've had to get away from my Never Sutton takes.
No,
because he finally
Cortland
is a good
Sutton
quarterback.
is the reason you've had to get away from your Never Cortland Sutton.
What, in the 4th or 5th year finally? Nah, it's definitely the better quarterback play.
We won't get into it. Kyler, Baker, Darnold, or Caleb. 6 points per passing TD. Mark, we're going to start with you on this one.
Kyler, Baker, Darnold, or Caleb. I would say Baker, but I think they're going to run quite a bit in this game, so I'm probably going to pivot to Kyler here.
Kyler. Okay, Rich. Rich is flashing the Raiders. I didn't see an option for Aiden McConnell, but I'm curious on where he was going.
Yeah, look, I'm going Baker against the Vegas Raiders. I know I just got done saying earlier they defend better against the pass and everything, but I have to play Baker.
All right, one for Baker, one for Kyler. Justin?
I want to say Darnold, but it seems like he plays down when he has a bad secondary. I don't know if it's just because no, it's not because they run more, because his attempts in those games are high. It feels like he's playing down in his low games to secondaries he should be doing well against. But
could it have anything to do with the fact that he's Sam Darnold?
Maybe. Let's see. I'm gonna go with Sam Darnold. I can't quit the guy. He's only had a couple of bad games all year, floor wise, right now, I like Sam Darnold, so I'm gonna go with Darnold against Atlanta. Like, he's got to do well against Atlanta, right?
You would hope. Although this is going to be a Kirk Cousins coming home game, I'm excited for this game as well. David?
I'm going to go Baker against the Raiders.
All right, so we got 2 for Baker, 1 for Kyler, 1 for Darnold. Nobody likes Caleb. The next one is fun. I'm looking forward to this one. And we're gonna start with Rich. Mahomes or Winston? 6 points per passing TD.
100%, man, Winston.
Okay, David.
With hands or butts.
It's Mahomes.
Rich is over here eating these W's.
Mahomes and Herbert always sling it all over the place against each other. They step up for that matchup. The Steelers are just they're going to be mad. They're mad about that last game. They're not letting Winston do anything. There's not a bunch of snow to blind our players. Like it'll be fine.
Mark?
I'm with Mahomes.
So you really can't answer a question like this without a little more information. If you're talking Winston, you need to know if there's negative points for interceptions. Because if there's not, you go Winston. But if there is, it pretty much counteracts everything he's doing throughout the week. So I'm assuming there's probably negative for interceptions, so I'm going to go Mahomes.
David, I have to ask real quick. The reason you went with Mahomes, does it have anything to do with the fact that Cleveland is playing Pittsburgh today? Did that weigh at all into your biasness there?
No, it's the same reason I picked that as the game of the week. Mahomes versus Herbert. I mean, since when Herbert was a rookie and came in surprising everybody, it's been a shootout 9 times out of 10. Like I expect a high scoring game despite the defenses being the stronger units in this game.
Hey, I'm just going to throw this out there. If I understand correctly, I think Mahomes has probably thrown more interceptions in the time frame Winston's been playing too. So.
Yeah. Oh, no, nobody's thrown more interceptions than Winston since he's been playing. On the year, I think Mahomes has thrown more. But since Winston's been playing, he's definitely thrown the most.
Yeah.
Justin, what say you?
I don't know. I think that this one has both of them have very similar outcomes for me due to the matchups as well. Like, I think that both of them have an okay floor and a really nice ceiling. So it's a tough one. I'm just going to go ahead and go with Mahomes as the more consistent play here, thinking, he might get you 25 and then Winston gets you 40. I mean, it is what it is, but I think on the other end of it, Mahomes might get you 20 and Winston get you 10. So I just I think because of the consistency level, I'm going to go with Mahomes here right before the playoffs.
All right. And Mark, what was your?
I just wanted to jump in with David. Survivor. I have 8 people left, and my 2 options were either take the Steelers over the Browns or the Saints over the Giants. And I feel like the Steelers won't lose to the Browns twice, right?
I agree with that.
The Giants game kind of scares me like it's a trap. Drew Lock playing. He's going to be playing better.
Well, and
David also won't
and
bet
Taysom
against the
Hill is
Saints.
out, so the Saints are going to suck. It's just that was what they do. Without Taysom Hill, they've been bad.
I just want you to tell me there's no way the Steelers can lose this game, right?
If I tell you that, we will lose. I am confident the Steelers win, but if I tell you there's no chance that we lose, we lose. That's
Okay.
what happens.
All right. So
He won't bet against his own team, so you can't take his advice on this.
This is true. Yeah.
This is true. Mark, did you weigh in on the quarterbacks?
Yeah, I went Mahomes.
Okay,
I was saying because of the interceptions. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Consensus is Mahomes here. That's going to be a fun one to watch. Watching Jameis Winston play football is fun.
I love
that's all
it.
I'm going to say.
I love the pregame too. His interviews are part of the best part of the game.
All right, we got another one here. Tua, Herbert, or Russell, 6 points per passing TD. Justin, we'll start with you this time.
I'm going to go with Herbert. I think that the floor on this one is pretty close across the board, but I think Herbert has the higher upside in this game, so I'm going to go with Herbert.
All right, and Mark?
Yeah, I'm Herbert as well. I just think you have to throw the ball against the Chiefs.
All right. David, I think I know where you're going, so I'm going to skip over you and go to Rich. I think you're going to go Herbert. It's your game of the week. You have to. Rich?
Yeah, I'm going to go Herbert.
All right, clean sweep. I would have went Herbert as well. Zach Charbonnet or Braylon Allen in a PPR deep league? Rich, we'll start with you.
You know what? I'm going Braylon Allen. I had to pick him up because of Breece Hall sitting down. This young stud is when he gets the opportunity, he's produced out there next to Breece Hall and everything. Charbonnet, even when Walker's out and he's playing, I mean, he doesn't have no killer games or anything like that. Yeah, he goes out there and gives you a decent number and everything. I just like Braylon Allen a little bit more this week.
All right, and Justin?
Yeah, I think Braylon Allen definitely has the safer floor, and this is a deeper league, so you have a lot of people out there that are trying to play on that floor. But I mean, when teams go up big early and often through most of the game, that garbage time is going to go to the team that's blowing out the others. So I'm going to go with Braylon Allen here because the Jets are going to show the Dolphins what's up today. So let's go Braylon Allen.
And Mark?
I'm going Braylon Allen. He was one of my favorite running backs going into the draft this year. I just hated that he got drafted behind Breece Hall, but I'm excited to see what he can do with the majority of the reps today.
And David?
Yeah, since you didn't get Isaac Guerrero, who's actually the best out of these three for this week, I'm going to go Braylon Allen as well.
You guys are going to be so disappointed when the Dolphins, not only do they mud stop the Jets again, because that's what the Dolphins do. They beat up on bad teams. Braylon Allen's probably not going to have a very good game because the Dolphins' run defense is actually pretty decent. All right, we'll go next one. PPR, Tyreek Hill. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, so I'll answer this question first. I'll take the bullet on that one. But just to be clear, like I was being facetious about the Jets blowing them out. But I also believe in Braylon Allen today for that garbage time because of the PPR points in that matchup. So that was the real reason I was going to go with Braylon Allen. It doesn't change my opinion on who I'm starting. I was just joking.
I know.
But let's see. So Harrison, and then
you got Marvin Harrison, Jacoby Myers, or Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Myers here. I do think that Tyreek obviously has a good game, but again, just like we're talking game scripts here, and we're talking how the game could unfold, and I see the need for the Raiders to throw against that poor Bucs secondary a whole lot. Myers has been showing up. He's proven that he's probably all his bit as good as what Devontae Adams was when he was the number one this season. So. Yeah, let me go with Myers on this one.
Rich?
Man, I look, Myers is real close for me, but I'm starting Tyreek this week. I think he's going to have a good game. Like I said, George is already kind of hard head on the Miami. I'm rolling with them, but look, Myers is a close second for me. Between Myers and freaking Bowers and stuff like that, that's the only two they're throwing to.
Mark?
For me, it's between Harrison and Myers, and I think Arizona has a big game this week, so I'm going to go Harrison.
David, break the tie because we are all tied up at one apiece.
That's not fair. I don't like to be the lone man. I think I'm going to go Harrison Jr. as well. I think the Cardinals need this win more than the other teams. I mean, Myers and the Raiders don't need a win. In fact, they should probably lose. But I think the Cardinals need this win to stay level with the Seahawks, etc. And I think MHJ is the way they do it today.
All right, so that is true for him.
And
was saying that the other team knows that MHJ is there, but they're not worried about him. They're worried about Connor and McBride because of their volume, which is why MHJ is going to get some looks today that he shouldn't get.
All right, so we got 2 for Harrison, 1 for Tyreek, and 1 for Myers. By the way, if we would have had this question at week 1, all of you guys would never be doing this show ever again. Oh, there was a second part of that question. Chuba Hubbard or Jalen Warren, and because it involves a Steeler, we're going to go to David first.
It doesn't matter that involves a Steeler. It's Chuba Hubbard. Neither of the Steelers running backs are outscoring Hubbard.
All right, I got nods from Justin and Rich, so I'm assuming they agree. So we'll just skip them and go to Mark.
I'm going to go Warren. I'm sticking with the fact that I believe that they're going to try to get Brooks more involved as this season goes on, and that's going to cut into Hubbard quite significantly.
I like the fact that David is pulling the against the Steelers at all costs. So he's telling you not to start any Steelers, but he's also not picking players going against the Steelers. It's a very bold strategy, sir. I actually appreciate it. All right. I want to say the last one from Crana, but I'm not sure that that's actually factual. So this is the last one in the series from Crana. Neighbors game time decision or Jerry Jeudy PPR. Mark, we haven't started with you in a minute. Let's go to you first.
Are the games at the same time there for the two of them?
I will tell you. The Giants play at 1.
Okay.
So did the other game, yeah.
Yeah.
So if Neighbors is playing, then I'm going to go Neighbors. I think a lot of people are going to try to chase those points from Jeudy last week, and I think they're going to be disappointed if they chase it this week. So I'm going to go Neighbors if he plays. Obviously, you're Jeudy if he's not.
All right, Justin?
I'm tempted to chase the Jeudy points from the last 4 weeks as well, but no, I do like the matchup here for Neighbors this week. But man, I don't know what. Let me see one more thing here. So Neighbors with all the backup quarterbacks here. I mean, he's still scoring consistently double digits, and even against some tougher matchups, but also against the weaker matchups, he's not really excelling either. That offense is just too stagnant for me. I'm going to go with Jeudy. Let's go with comeback player of the year, Jerry Jeudy.
Ooh, bold. I like it. Because Rich has a hat on and David doesn't, we'll keep the tradition of going with the hats here. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, I'm comfortable chasing those points. Tillman might be back to play this week, but I don't think he's fully recovered and everything. Okay, so even more and stuff like that, I'm going Jeudy with the lively arm of Jameis Winston.
A lively arm. I love the description. David?
Yeah, I'm going with Neighbors.
All right, so we have a tie. I have to break it, and I agree with Justin and Rich. I am absolutely comfortable chasing Jerry Jeudy's production for the last 4 weeks, especially with no Cedric Tillman. And as Rich eloquently put, Jameis Winston's lively arm.
I will also say I hate Jerry Jeudy right now. In the T2T, big league that was put together with 8 different leagues or whatever with the highest score. I was in the first round of the playoffs. I had a 30-point lead going into Monday night, and I figured I'm safe. Jerry Jeudy needs to have the best game of his career. And then lo and behold, Jerry Jeudy had the best game of his career, and I'm out of the race for the pot. So I hate Jerry Jeudy right now.
So that's why you're picking against him. You're letting your feelings and emotion override wisdom and logic. That's fine. Nope.
His
That's
worst
fine.
game out of the last several was against the Steelers in the snow. The Steelers are the best defense that he's facing so far. The other two teams that he completely annihilated didn't have good defenses.
We get it. He's playing against the Steelers, so you're going to take the player against the Steelers. It's a tradition. It's a trend. We get it. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. We got a question here coming up next that involves nobody playing for or against the Steelers. So, David, we're going to stick right with you. Garindo, Aaron Jones, or Swift as his RB2?
For me, this depends on your situation. Aaron Jones, I feel like, is probably your safest bet. But if you need a big week or need a win or need points, need something big, I'm gonna roll the dice with Garindo. I watched him during the combine. He was, I think, the second fastest running back there, if not the fastest. And his only game that he had extended time in the game, he ended up with 19 PPR points. So I'm all about Garindo this week.
And Mark?
It's Aaron Jones for me. The Niners are just a mess. I don't think we can just start going next man up with them. I just think they're not. So I don't trust Garindo, and I like Jones over Swift.
Rich?
I saved all my fab budget in all my leagues where I was able to spend all of it this week for Garindo and everything. I'm riding Garindo.
Yeah, I kind of feel, well, Justin, you go next.
So the only thing that scares me about Garindo is that they are at home, meaning that there's a much higher likelihood that he gets hurt, because that's what the 49ers running backs do on that field.
I have to jump in. It's not just the running backs. It's literally the whole team.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I'm still going with Garindo, man. Dude's actually been playing really well, even in the backup role. And then the couple of times where the starter has gone down early in the game and they come out in the second half knowing that Garindo is going to be the featured back, he's still averaging on the season a total of almost 6 yards per carry. The dude has played phenomenally well, just like all running backs in that system do. So I'm kind of the opposite here. I kind of feel like we can just trust next man up in this offense for the running back position. And then, of course, you got to look at the matchups too. And Chicago just isn't quite there for me against running backs. They're the 10th worst team in the league against running backs, which, I mean, that's kind of pushing closer to that middle level, but that's not good. So give me Garindo, and I'm gonna feel pretty confident about this one.
Yeah, if you spent all that fab money on Garindo or your high waiver, you're probably going to want to start him. We're going to get a lot of Garindo questions, by the way. I got a feeling coming up.
Looks like it.
Better replacement running back, Braylon Allen or Isaac Garindo? Mark, we'll start with you on this one.
Braylon Allen, I think.
Braylon Allen. Justin?
What do we mean by replacement running back? Because one of these guys is the starter for the rest of the fantasy season, and the other's a backup for the rest of the fantasy season. This isn't even close. What do you mean by better replace? Are we talking dynasty? Or are we talking if we're running our own team? Because, I don't feel like this should even be a question. Isaac Garindo is going to get all of.
What if he needs one?
I assume this week. If we're
what if he? Yeah, just assume it's this week.
Okay.
Hey, maybe Jimmy just got to find out for us.
How is Braylon out? Breece Hall is out. What are you talking about?
When's
the back?
Yeah.
I didn't know Breece Hall was out.
Yeah, he's out.
I thought that's what we were talking about the last question. You picked Braylon Allen a couple questions.
Yeah, I
ago.
did, but that was also 2 backups. That was also 2 backup running backs, so that makes that one not close.
Neither
well.
one of those are backups today because Charbonnet is also a starter
Yeah.
today. Walker's
Yeah,
out.
because Ken Walker's out.
Wow. All right.
You're
yeah, so
behind on the
clearly
injuries
I've been-
this week.
Clearly, I've been very out of it this week with the injuries for sure. All right. Well, shoot.
But I
That
agree
does
with
make it
Justin. If we're
for them.
talking replacement running back for like the rest of the season, then yeah, it's Garendo because Braylon's just there while Hall's out. But
Well, I'm going to answer this
All
like
right.
it's a weekly question, just like everybody gets on here. Answers a weekly question.
All right.
It's
Yeah.
Braylon Allen. It's Braylon Allen this week.
Yeah, that does change my mind. I'm going to go with Braylon Allen as well.
I'm not. I'm going to go with Isaac Garendo this week and for the season. I think he has an easier matchup this week. We've seen his usage. I do agree Braylon Allen looks nice when he's in there, but they use him about as much as they use Breece Hall, which isn't as much as they should. They definitely rely on Aaron Rodgers too much. They're going to be playing from behind. It's just not Braylon Allen for me.
All right. And we're going to go to Rich on the next one because it involves a Raider, Elijah Moore, Wandale Robinson, or Trey Tucker.
Surprisingly, I'm going to go Elijah Moore. With Tillman being out, yes, Judy had a great game, but Elijah Moore wasn't that far behind him. He had a good game too last week. So
Mark's twitching, Justin's moving around, and David was shaking his hand. All three of you caught my attention, but
I was saying he has to pick 2.
you got to pick 2.
yeah, so okay, that helps out. I apologize. I never read questions. I never listen to you guys when you guys are talking about.
Who was your second?
I'm gonna take Trey Tucker. He's been with O'Connell and Trey Tucker's been a little bit more involved too with the long shots. He's that high got that high ceiling and everything. So that's the reason why I'm picking Trey Tucker.
All right. Let's go with David next.
Fucking stupid. I'm going to go Elijah Moore and Trey Tucker as well. Wandale's just kind of fallen off as the season went along, unfortunately. He was one of my favorites to throw in there, hope for some usage, but I'm going to go Elijah Moore and Trey Tucker.
Daniel Jones was making that man a bag this offseason, and then they cut Daniel Jones. Justin?
Yeah, so first off, I apologize to all the viewers. Typically, I set my lineups before I come on the show so that I can see all of these different injury reports and all that. Had a really busy week at work this week, and then today I was doing drywall work before the show, so I didn't do my normal, typical routine. So I do apologize for being out of the loop on the injuries. But yeah, no, for this one, I'm going Elijah Moore and Trey Tucker.
All right. And Mark?
Yeah, I'm going Elijah Moore and Trey Tucker. I actually have Trey Tucker in a dynasty league on that uses taxi squad spots. I actually have Trey Tucker on my taxi squad and was considering bringing him up this week to start him, but I do still have MVS, so I was starting him instead. So I'm going to leave him on there one more week just to make sure I make the playoffs before pulling him up.
All right. So that's a clean sweep for Elijah Moore and Trey Tucker. All four of us went the same. The last part of this question I find really interesting. I'm curious on your guys' opinion on this. Teams out of the playoffs allowed to make ad drop players. Mark, I want your opinion on this first.
So in all the leagues I commission, first of all, if it's a dynasty or a keeper league, 1,000% yes, they can pick up throughout the whole play. As long as anybody else can pick up, you can pick up as well, just because if you're keeping players, one half of the league shouldn't have an advantage over the other half. As far as like redraft leagues, I allow teams to pick up players until the first week of the playoffs. Once you're out of the playoffs and the playoffs start, your rosters are locked. But if you want to, I don't think it's fair to lock teams out of the playoffs during the regular season from making moves, because you're giving their opponents an advantage that the rest of the teams didn't have throughout the first half of the season. So redraft leagues up until the playoffs, then locked. Dynasty and keepers all season long.
Justin?
So my initial response is whatever the rules say. Like, we're all playing on the same level field whenever we started the season, so whatever the rules are. And then if you don't like that, you have a discussion amongst the league after the season's over for next year. But for my personal opinion, typically in the leagues I commission, I tend to allow it because I usually have some form of payout or something to play for throughout the playoffs. Hey, hi. Throughout
There's
the
the gun,
playoffs,
baby.
the people that tend to not be in the playoffs still have something to shoot for, something to play for, because I want an active league. I want guys to still be trying to play spoiler. So if the playoffs have already started, then I'm going to have what I typically call the toilet bowl, for lack of a better term, in most of my leagues, so that these lower level teams can still continue to play and have something to play for, because we all hate it when the fantasy football season's over and we got to wait an entire year for more fantasy football. So why not give them 2 more weeks of something to shoot for? So that's what I usually do. But if there is nothing for them to play for, then I agree. Yes, now you are no longer allowed to, in a redraft, make ad drops. But that's because I have it set as a rule in my leagues.
David?
Yeah, I'm the same way. If there's a toilet bowl, if there's just bragging rights, anything. Now, obviously, if you're dropping, freaking Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes to pick up Cooper Rush, and I'm not going to let you sabotage the league and throw people out there that shouldn't be out there. But if you're just making your normal weekly, hey, I'm streaming a defense and I'm picking up a defense for the week, I don't care.
Would you allow them to drop Tyreek Hill for Jacoby Myers?
Yes.
Okay. I just need to know where that line of dropping elite players was.
But yeah, I mean, both of those players. I mean, Tyreek Hill's having a down year. Myers is having an up year. I'd be okay with that.
I mean, the thing there, though, is you probably most likely have somebody worse than Tyreek Hill on your roster that you should have dropped instead of.
That's true.
Probably going to say no there.
Rich, what are your opinion on the teams out of the playoffs allowed to make ad drops?
I'll put it this way. If I'm out of it, I'm still submitting a lineup. I'm not touching the waiver wire for the people that are in it. So that's how I usually play and stuff like that. So, but I'm very rarely not out of it. So
I will say that as well. And anybody who knows me, I keep all my players on the bench except for an MFL, because MFL hates me and won't let me do the things I want to do. But I put all my players on the bench to start the week, and I put them in, I do Thursday's game and then I do everything else on Sunday. But if, as some people have noticed, once I'm out of the playoffs, I will set my lineup early in the week. I'll only go in and change it if it's somebody who's injured, because I care less at that point and I don't want to focus on that league. I want to focus on the leagues that I'm still in. I will set a lineup, but I'm not touching the waiver wire unless I have nobody to put in that injury spot.
Unless it's a dynasty league or a keeper league, or like the consolation bracket or toilet bowl bracket has some type of monetary value. Once the playoffs start, if I'm not in the playoffs, I'm not touching waivers either. I'll leave it for the guys that are still there. I will compete every single week up until the start of the playoffs. I will make my ad drops. I'll set my roster, but I will not touch the waiver wire once the playoff starts if I'm not in it and I've got no monetary value, or it's not keeper or dynasty or anything like that. Let that be for the teams that are still in it to compete and try to get their championship. But for the most part, I do agree with what everybody else said. Yes, Mark.
I think I don't know if you guys saw the tweet that went viral. Probably spurred that question. Was there apparently in some league there was a guy who was inactive the entire season?
I've seen that tweet.
Set his lineup week 1, never came back, didn't fix buy replacements or anything, and then this week showed up and put all the fab on and stole them from the rest of the league with like a 1-in-12 record or something.
You know what you call that man? A hero. You call that man a hero.
Yeah,
Especially if you didn't have any
the,
fab left, 100%.
You know what?
for the other guy in the league that was barely about to miss the playoffs, but was about to face the guy that had the most fab in the league. So he called him up and said, "Hey, dude, go spend your fab, get Garindo, so that I don't have to face this guy." Like that's exactly another reason why fab is BS. But then again, if he wasn't making
all we
moves
know
all
is that
season,
guy
he'd
was in
still
a
be number
coma
one.
all year.
Yeah.
He might have been in a
Yeah,
coma
there you go.
since week 1. We don't know that.
Now
All I know,
spoiler.
all I know is nobody complained about this guy the entire year when he didn't set his roster and they played him.
100%.
They did not complain one bit. So I don't want to hear you complain after the fact that he came in and bidded on a running back that you wanted after he gave you a free win, and he gave most of the league a free win throughout the year. I don't want to hear that. Good for him. I appreciate that tactic. And if somebody called him and said, "Hey, go spend your fab on this guy," I applaud the guy who called him. Like, that is phenomenal. That is strategery to the highest level. I've actually done that to Jason. He and I were competing in our home league, and there was a guy who he was desperate for a running back. Jason had waiver priority number 2. He had waiver priority number 1, but he was out of the playoffs and had no chance. And I called him and said, "Hey, pick up this guy. He's a starting running back the rest of the year." He did. Jason was pissed. I laughed. It was great.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's wrong for it. I agree with I agree completely with you.
Absolutely.
Should be a monster card.
What was that, Rich? I'm sorry.
Should be a monster card.
It should be. We got to make an Isaac Garindo or the inactive, suddenly active waiver wire pickup monster card. Better tight end option, Cade Otton or Will Dissly. David, we'll start with you.
Man, this is hard for me because I like Otton, but I feel like since Evans has been back, he's gone down. And I like Dissly, but every time I play him, he doesn't do anything. But I gotta go with Dissly. I like the matchup. I think it's going to be high scoring. So,
Justin,
I'm going to go with Dissly. Both of these guys have come back down to earth, and both of them have really good matchups to try to bounce back this week. So, I'm going to go with Dissly as well.
And Mark?
Yeah, I mean, both are great tight ends playing down as of late, but I think the Chiefs have one of the worst defenses against the tight ends, so that's why I'm going Dissly.
I will point out that both the Raiders and the Chiefs have pretty bad defenses against tight ends. Rich?
I'm going on.
Okay. 3-1, go with Dissly. Better defense to play, the Saints over the Giants or the Titans over the Jaguars? Rich, we'll start this one with you.
Mac Jones is playing against the Titans defense, so that's who I'm rolling with.
Mark?
Yep, same exact reason.
Justin?
Yeah, it's the same reason, but also because the Saints have been backpedaling since the start of the season. Their defense hasn't played nearly as well, so I'm going with the Titans as well.
And David?
Mine has nothing to do with Mac Jones. It has to do with the Jaguars as a whole. But I also, I think the Titans win, and I think the Giants pull the upset over the Saints. So I'm going to go with the Titans.
All right, that is a clean sweep. Play against Mac Jones. I feel like that's a solid strategy. Chris's videos, or as I like to call him, Chris Day One. He says, "What's good, y'all? Braylon Allen or Pacheco, half PPR?" Go ahead, Justin.
I'll start this one because had I started the show off with this question, I would have answered different earlier. But now that I know what I know, I'm going to go with Braylon Allen.
Mark?
I hate this question because I have no idea what the Chiefs are going to do. I want to say that they're going to lean back on Pacheco, but I don't know that for sure. So I'm going to go Braylon Allen as well. But, I mean, if they give all the carries to Pacheco, I think it's the easy slam dunk that he outperforms him.
David?
Yeah, I'm going to go Pacheco.
Richard?
I have not used this term this season at all. I know you guys have all used it very openly and everything. So Braylon Allen is going to have a legacy game. Braylon Allen.
I don't like you at all.
He's got a really good
Now-
matchup this
Now, the
week.
last time legacy game was used, it happened. So
I don't think that was quite the legacy game. It was a good game.
Oh,
It wasn't a legacy game.
Oh, it was a pretty damn good
Like
legacy.
Randy Moss against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day was a legacy style game. I mean, Chase Brown had a good game, but like that kind of production is put up almost on a weekly basis by various running backs. They're not all legacies.
Wasn't it like over 150 yards and
Maybe all purpose. 150 rushing.
I think it was
He had
over.
one touchdown.
It was like 120 rushing. I think.
Yeah, that happens on a weekly basis.
I don't know.
So when Ken Walker goes for 120 rushing yards and a touchdown, we can call him having a legacy game? No.
Well, he didn't have 30 yards receiving and a touchdown receiving as well. So, I mean, if he did, then yeah, I'd call it a legacy game.
Can we
Listen.
just go in the middle and say that it was a legacy game by Chase Brown standards?
Yes, because that's the best game he's ever going to have in his career. So yeah, we can agree with that.
That's not even true either. He's done better since that. Chase
So he's had more than one.
Legend, guys.
So he's had more than one legacy game this year.
Correct. He's a legacy player now.
Yeah. when he goes out and bombs against Dallas. I don't even.
Don't say that. I need them. I need him to do well in that game.
Who hasn't gone yet? Everybody's gone.
I think
Okay.
everybody might, yeah.
All right, raise your hand if you're with Braylon Allen. I know Justin was. I know Rich was. Okay, so I got to break this tie. I don't think Braylon Allen's going to have as good a game as everybody thinks he is. I think he'll have an okay game. I'm just not really sure that Pacheco is going to have a great game. I still expect him to split carries with Kareem Hunt. I'm going to go with Braylon Allen over Pacheco, but I'm not really feeling either one of these guys. And Burrow has entered the chat. See, and Burrow's already in it. We need to get Bengals jersey for Joe and Burrow, and with their name on the front.
George, there was a second half to that last one.
There wasn't there? Yeah, it involved Nick Westbrook-Aquino. That's why I didn't look at it. And for another league, Braylon Allen. By the way, these are all half-point PPR. Every league Chris is in. He mentioned earlier that they're all half-point PPR. For another league, Braylon Allen or Nick Westbrook-Aquino. We're going to go to Joe first.
I'm gonna go with Akine.
Aquino. Rich.
Hi, Joe.
Oh man, how do you not go Akine with what he's been doing and stuff like that? But I've already said Allen's gonna have a legacy game, so I'm going Braylon Allen.
So, by the way, I've been told previously that it's not really Nick Westbrook-Aquino that's really good. Apparently, it's Will Levis because the quarterback clearly makes the wide receiver that much better. Justin?
Only when the quarterback is good.
I remember I could pull up video clips of you gushing over Will Levis. Don't start with me.
I thought he was going to be great. I was proven wrong, just like you are with Knicks. So Braylon Allen though is okay. Part of the reason I chose Allen over Pacheco though is because of that matchup. That was really my biggest fear for Pacheco. Yeah, even if they bring him in and let him have the meat of the carries and they sit Hunt even more. He still has a much tougher matchup in a system and then an offense where I think they're going to have to throw the ball more this week. That's why I went with Braylon Allen. And Allen is in a system and an offense where they're going to run the ball a lot more. Nick Westbrook, I kept saying I wasn't going to start him through this stretch of touchdowns because it's unsustainable and he wasn't getting enough targets. So then last week they gave him a couple more targets than usual and he got 2 touchdowns. Like I feel like he's going to score a touchdown, but I still have to go with Braylon Allen in this one. It's half PPR. It's tie goes to the running back situation. It's a better matchup situation. I feel like I still have to go. The responsible choice here is to go with Allen, even though my heart wants to go with IKEA.
The better matchup is debatable.
Well, okay. So the reason it's debatable, though, is because I don't feel like they're going to have to throw the ball a whole lot if they play their cards right against Jacksonville.
All right. And who hasn't gone? Rich, you haven't gone yet, have you? Mark?
I haven't gone. I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm talking about a bull to try not to get our show shut down. But you ride her till she bucks you, and until Akine stops scoring touchdowns, I'm gonna keep riding. So I'm going Akine over Braylon Allen.
Felt like there was a groin injury coming in there.
So I had to look this up. Westbrook Akine is 5th in the NFL in receiving touchdowns on the year. If you take out tight ends, he's 4th.
Yeah, and he actually didn't even have a touchdown until the week before Hopkins got traded.
Yep. So he's got 20 catches on the year. 8 of them have gone for touchdowns.
Just insane.
And it's been in the last 8 weeks. He only missed a touchdown one game, and he got 2 in one game.
Yep.
He's gotten a touchdown every game otherwise, though.
Yep.
I mean, stats like that hasn't happened since Chris Carter.
His targets, he's only got 38 targets on the year. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, I'm gonna go Braylon Allen here as well. I can't. That train, those wheels are gonna fall off eventually. That is totally unsustainable. I'll take the guaranteed touches, the guaranteed points coming from Braylon Allen.
I'm gonna throw this out there. We're all making this decision, and you guys are making this decision on a streak in week 14, trying to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay. So sit here and think about how serious you need to make the playoffs, and you want to ride this streak. I'm not riding this streak as good as he's been, hoping that he gets a touchdown trying to make the playoffs.
I mean,
yeah.
Instead, we're going to go with a running back who's getting his first official start against a defense that dominates the Jets historically.
Yeah.
Every time Braylon Allen has been in there, he has produced, and now he's going to be the number one back. Yeah, I'm riding him.
I mean, you're saying the same thing, though. You're saying every time that Braylon Allen has been in there, he's produced. Every time Akine has been in there in the past 10 weeks, he's scored a touchdown.
He's not a running back. Well,
yeah, the positional advantage, the guaranteed to
also matchup advantage though too. It's
right. It's against the Dolphins.
Bye. But also Braylon Allen, look at it this way. Like if we really think that the Dolphins are going to have the lead on the Jets, then that means they're going to have to throw the football in that fourth quarter. And we know that even in half PPR points, if we know that he's going to get targets at the end of the game, those are very valuable fantasy points. He has just as high of a likelihood to have just as many targets and receptions, if not more, than Ikea Westbrook. And then you throw in the fact that he's getting all the carries, so he has a higher opportunity at scoring the touchdown. And that sustainability for the touchdowns that Westbrook was getting isn't very likely, even though it keeps happening. It's like eventually you flip heads. Eventually you're going to flip tails.
Listen, I will take Braylon Allen's. I will take Nick Westbrook Akine's 3 catches on 4 targets for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns over Braylon Allen's 30 rushing yards, 20 passing or reception yards, and 2 catches.
I mean, Westbrook's only broke 100 yards once all season, so it's not the yardage; it's just the touchdown.
I was about to say, I'll take that board bet.
So, the only thing I want to add though is we're also talking about Braylon Allen, like we know how they're gonna do it without Breece Hall in there. I mean, you have Isaiah Davis. He could very well be in towards the end of the game, getting half of those receptions. I mean, I think he had 4 catches last week. So, I mean, again, there's a lot of unknown here.
All of it's unknown. We're breaking down the future and what we believe is going to happen based upon historical past. That's what we're doing. Anyway, we'll move on from this one. Wrong mouse. Let me come over to this one.
Did we board that? I'm down with taking it.
You two did because I think it's close enough that I don't really care all that much. I'm just trying to break tiebreakers here, but
I'll board bet it, but we got to let's iron out the details around the board bet. I'm willing to say Akine don't go over 100 yards.
I'll take that.
There we go.
If that's the case, I'll take.
You said 150.
He's not going to break 100.
You said 150. That's why I'm like, I'll take that board bet. All right. Sixth question from Jimmy here. Pick 2 PPR: JSN, Higgins, or Devonta Smith. Rich, we'll start with you.
Oh man, I know you guys are more high on Higgins than I am, so I feel comfortable saying this because you guys are probably going to pick me on this one. I'm benching Higgins. I like I said, I like Devonta Smith this game, and JSN I just like too. So,
all right, and that's 1 for JSN and 1 for Smith. Mark, let's go to you.
I absolutely love JSN and love Higgins, so it's pretty easy for me, those two.
All right. Justin?
Do we know for sure that Smith is playing this week? He's been out the last couple of weeks.
I believe he is playing.
Is he playing injured? I know Goddard's out this week, so that kind of helps him a little bit too.
Smith, hamstring off injury report for week 14.
Yeah, he's playing.
But Higgins does have a really nice matchup, and he's doing all he can to try to keep up in fantasy points with Jerry Jeudy. He's been unsuccessful, but he's trying really hard. So I guess I'm going to go with Higgins here, just because it is a hamstring injury that does scare me. So I'm going to go with Higgins and JSN.
All right, and David.
I think you're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I was muted, but I was telling Dina that she can come get him. He's doing his drooling thing, and my entire surface here on the laptop. Pick 2. Okay.
Pick 2. JSN, Higgins, or Devonta Smith.
I'm going to go Higgins and Smith.
All right. So it's very close. We got 3 for JSN, 3 for T. Higgins, and 2 for Devonta Smith.
And we have 1 for the chili cheese fries. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, so these are 2 of our new flavors that are coming out this week. Hot fried chili cheese, and then flaming hot lime and baconettes.
This segment brought to you by the Frito.
You know what? They're not a sponsor. I'm not allowing Rich to get away with free advertisement on here. Rich, if they want to sponsor, we can go ahead and do the advertising. But until then, no, we're not pushing their product.
Regardless of if they want to sponsor, if you want to send me a box of honey cheese curls, if they make them, I'm down. We don't have your brand.
I think they do make them, don't they?
There is a brand. I haven't seen Fritos honey cheese curls. I do get the Hers honey cheese curls out here, and they're awesome.
Neither is a sponsor. Bye-week quarterback replacement, Stafford or Herbert? We'll go with Mark first.
Stafford. We're beating the Bills today.
Bold. I like it. Justin?
Herbert. And that's if they beat the Bills, then that Stafford's either going to have a 40-point game or it's going to be on the ground. So Stafford could easily have a huge game. I'm not picking Herbert because of my anti-Stafford. I'm picking Herbert because that's what the Chargers need to win, and I feel like that they're going to win that game. So give me Herbert.
All right, we got 1 for Stafford, 1 for Herbert. Rich?
Yeah, so Mark, you missed it earlier because you showed up late, but I picked the Bills and the Rams as the game of the week, and I picked Rams as an upset. So I'm pulling for the Rams this week, but I'm going Herbert here.
All right, 2 for Herbert, 1 for Stafford. David?
Yeah, it's Herbert and somebody needs to go pinch Mark up there because the Rams. Love you, buddy, but it's just not happening. I hope you do. As a Steelers fan who's striving for that number 1 seed, I'm hoping the Bills and
it's a long trip from the East Coast to the West Coast after a big win in the snow.
Hey, I'm down for it.
Mark, we never got your game of the week. I'll give you a minute to look over. You can pick your team. Jason's not here. So we're playing by my rules this week, so I'm hosting. I don't care what game you pick.
It's already been picked.
Well,
even though it's already been picked.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though it's already been picked, he could pick it again because you can have
are no rules.
You can have multiple people be wrong and pick the Rams. Okay, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. Okay,
I know he wants to give me a loss, but if you're letting me take that win, I'll take that win.
You want the Rams as well, Mark? You got the Rams. You and Rich.
So Mark, George did give us that option and stuff, and we all said we're sticking with tradition, and still didn't go with our games.
Oh, okay. So you want me to pick something else?
I don't know. No,
I'm just throwing it out there.
No, it's already out there in the ether. I've already messaged Jason your pick. It's done. We're moving on. You took the Rams. That's fine. I don't care who you pick. You can pick your team. I don't care. I'm not Jason. It's fine.
All right.
In another league, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Jawan Jennings, or Chuba Hubbard, half PPR. And David, we're going to start with you because you look busy.
Is that Chuba or is that Chubb?
Or Chubb. I'm sorry, Chubb.
Okay.
Well, it's not Chubb. He's facing the Steelers.
Always taken against the Steelers.
Oh, God. This is stupid. I'm going to go with Westbrook-Akina.
Westbrook. Justin?
It's Chubb for me. Not even close.
Justin's always taking the running back. I love him for that. Mark?
So Chubb had his best game of the season this year against the Steelers, but it was because of 2 touchdowns. He only had 59 yards. So I am going to stick with Akine. And
that literally sounds like an Akine stat, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
59 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. That is a Nick Akine stat, by the way.
It is 100%. But I told you I got the Steelers in my survivor pool. I'm assuming that the Steelers find a way to keep Chubb out of the end zone. So Akine.
Rich? Is Rich frozen? I think he's frozen.
He's not frozen.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I'm going Juwan Jennings.
All right. So that is 1 for Jennings, 1 for Chubb, and 2 for Akine. I hope he gets another touchdown this week. That'd be it. Listen, it would be fun to. It's a fun stat if it happens again. We'll just throw that out there. All my leagues are half PPR. Can't guarantee it's the last question, but Jimmy F says it is. It never is. It really never is. Connor or Tracy Jr. He's already starting Alvin Kamara. Justin, I'll go to you first on this one.
I mean, I think I'm going to go with Connor here. I think I'm going to go with the consistency, and he did have that down game just 2 weeks ago against Seattle. But like I said earlier, I think they're going to have to find a way to get him going. That offense is just too stagnant in New York for me to want any piece of that. Although if I were going to take a piece, it would be Tracy given the right situation. But I can't start him over Connor.
All right. And David?
I can 1,000% start him over Connor, and I will.
He can and he will. Rich?
Connor.
It's 2 for Connor, 1 for Tracy. Mark?
I think it's very close, but I do think you can run on the Saints. So I'm leaning Tracy Jr. here.
All right. 2 for Tracy, 2 for Connor. That means I've got to break the tie. I have James Conner on my rankings at number 13. I have Tracy at number 18. You can run on both Seattle and the Saints, although Saints are a little bit worse against the run than the Seahawks, but not by much. But I'm going to take James Conner. I just think it's a better offense. I think a better chance for him to get into the end zone. And J Money, all these other numbers. Apparently, he couldn't find anything shorter than that. J Money asks, "Good morning. Would you start Tracy, Braylon Allen, Rico Dowdle, or Jawan Jennings at flex in a half-point PPR?" Rich, we'll start with you.
Yeah, you know why? Because I'm easily going to say Braylon Allen. So
Legacy game.
Yeah.
Justin's going with Braylon Allen as well. Neither Mark nor David want to make eye contact. That's fine. We'll go with Mark.
Yeah. I'll go Braylon Allen here.
Braylon Allen and David.
I'm gonna stick to my Tracy here. I'm gonna go Tracy.
All right, so 3 for Allen, 1 for Tracy. Next question from J Money. Also, with Brees out as a stash, would you add McCormick, Ray Davis, Isaiah Davis, Jonathan Brooks in redraft? Justin looks perplexed, so you know where we're going first.
So the reason I'm perplexed is because there's so much that goes into this question. Like at this point in the season, I am all about bringing on backup running backs to stash because it keeps them away from your opponents if their starters should happen to go down in the playoffs if you have the roster space. But there's so much that goes into this. For one, who are you dropping? For two, all of these backups are backups to starters, and I need to know with those starters, whose teams are they on? Are they on your opponents that you might face in the playoffs, or are they on the guys that are out of the playoffs? Because if they're on the guys that are out of the playoffs, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. You still might be able to get the starting points for them, but you want the edge to go to the ones that would be starters for guys you might go up against in the playoffs. So those are the ones that get the tiebreakers here. All these guys are crap unless they get the starter or get the starting position. So you may as well try to go after the ones that give you the most possible edge later on down the road. And at the end of the day, I'm also not going to drop, I'm not going to drop MVS, Valdez-Scantling for any of these guys. So it depends on who your guy is that you're dropping as well. And it says Brees is out. He's only out for a week, right? So I mean, unless I totally missed it and he
it's a week.
blew something during practice.
So the way he worded it, I'm assuming in a lot of these leagues, when a player's ruled out, you can drop them down to IR. So I'm assuming that's what he's doing and just picking up a free player for a week. So
and that's how I answered it. Because
you're saying you wouldn't drop anybody. I'm just saying I'm assuming he's not dropping anybody.
Oh, okay. That part of it makes sense then. Yeah, but that still doesn't change who I would pick here. That just depends on who your opponents have.
Mark, who would you?
I would probably stash Jonathan Brooks just because I think he's the most likely guy that somebody's going to want to go grab this week. So I would just do that as a block, but most likely you're going to have to drop him anyways next week when Brees is back. So if you're just blocking for this week, I'd probably grab Brooks.
David?
Yeah, Brooks if I'm just blocking somebody for the week.
And Richard?
Otherwise, I don't care to redraft.
Yeah, so White and Madison are both ruled out. They brought McCormick up from the playing squad, signed him to a contract to be part of the 53-man roster. He is going to be he's going to be more involved out of all these players that you're just bringing in as a backup, because they are backups to running backs that are playing. So me knowing the situation with the Raiders and everything, McCormick was used and looked real good last week when had the opportunity and stuff. Now Abdullah is there and everything, but I look at them giving McCormick more of an opportunity this game and everything to be more involved. So out of these choices, I'm going with McCormick.
All right, and so we've got a McCormick, we've got a Jonathan Brooks. I still don't know who Justin said he would bring up. I think it was Brooks, but I'm not positive.
No, I mean, so if I have to pick one player here, then I guess I'm probably going to go Jonathan Brooks, because if one major guy ahead of McCormick is hurt long term and the others come back, he's still a backup. If one guy ahead of Brooks gets hurt, Brooks is the starter. So I guess I would go Jonathan Brooks. But again, if the guy that owns Chubb is out of the playoffs and the guy that owns White or whoever crap running back there is for the Raiders is still in the playoffs,
they're probably out of the playoffs too.
Towards McCormick. Yeah, then I probably lean towards McCormick.
They own Samir White or Alexander Madison. They're probably out of the playoffs too.
Right. So, Rich, is Abdullah still startable this week in a pinch where you need a running back?
Definitely, he is. A question did get up in our Patreon chat where Abdullah and McCormick was part of the question and everything. I'm picking McCormick over Abdullah this week. Now, Abdullah looked good when he was in there, but I've like I said, I don't study the Raiders like everybody else would and stuff like that, but I do pay attention to a lot of stuff, Raiders news that comes out and everything. Beginning of the preseason and stuff like that, McCormick was somebody that they wanted to take a look at. He looked good in preseason. With the injuries, they had the opportunity to bring him over Dylan Lobby, which a lot of people were talking highly of and everything. And McCormick had more opportunity last week out of Lobby and Abdullah.
Crazy news. Was this even like a question? Pickens is inactive this week.
It was a question.
It was.
I did not know that. Now
so listen, I have George Pickens on my home league. I have Breece Hall in my home league. I have Terry McLaurin, who's on a bye this week, in my home league. Everybody I have is either on a bye or injured this week in my home league. So Pickens being out, absolutely zero surprise. He'll probably end up getting placed on IR because I have him in my home league. Terry McLaurin is probably going to go out jet skiing this week and get an injured pick or something like that. Like, just my luck this year. But anyway, yeah, he was questionable coming in.
Now I'm a little worried about that Steelers game.
Fire up Kelvin Austin. All right, with Breece out, okay, we already got this. I would go Jonathan Brooks as well in a redraft. I might consider Ray Davis with just James Cook ahead of him. He's actually been playable in a spot this year, but I think Brooks has the better upside. Next question, we got coming here from Dorte. Says, good morning. Chris says all his leagues are, or this is insulting. I'm sorry. We got stuff from Jason. All right. Andrew says, pick 2 wide receiver and a flex PPR. Our options on that one, Andrew, are not the greatest. So we'll come down here. Pick 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. Let's do the wide receivers first. Actually, this is an easy one. If we got to pick 2 wide receivers and a flex, everybody's going to say Harrison, Waddle, and Jennings. This is so easy. Yep. We're glad we're going to get this one right in the spreadsheet. I have a feeling, Justin. Calling it now. Deanna says, good morning. Full PPR, pick 3. Need to win for a shot at the playoffs and get points as I'm 11 behind the guy I need to tie break against. Westbrook Akina, Valdez Scantling, Wanda Robinson, or Rome Odunze. You got to pick 3. David, I feel like your marriage could probably hinge on you getting this correct, so we're going to start with you first. No pressure.
Naturally. Well, I actually had her drop a few guys who have been much less consistent this year to pick up Akine and Scantling for this question. So I'm going to start both of them. And then my third option is going to be a Dunze.
All right, let me bust out my pen. Sorry, my dog's distracting me. All right,
Sorry,
Justin.
I'm 20 lineups looking for George Pickens. So
You're fine. Justin?
I'm going the same. Out of these four, I'm benching Wandell.
All right. That's 2 for Akine, Scantling, and Odunze. Rich?
Yeah, so here's a perfect example of these are the kind of questions that kind of where you want upside. And that's what we've been talking about with Akine and stuff like that. So, and Scantling, to be honest with you. So I'm on the same page with Justin on this one. I'm benching Wandale.
And Mark, are you going to make it a clean sweep?
Yeah, Wandell and Odunze both suck, but I think Wandell sucks a little more.
Neither one sucks as much as Bo Nix, though. I just want to let you know that.
Love the analysis there, Mark.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I put a lot of thought into that one.
So apparently I gave Brandon nothing, so he needs to stream a defense over Houston. Cardinals, New Orleans, Tennessee, Miami, Cincinnati, or Jacksonville. And I would tell you right now, the cojones to stream Jacksonville defense this week would be massive. Mark, we're going to start with you. Pick a defense to stream over Houston.
I was laughing because Jason just sent a message. He's like, "We let Mark take the Rams."
Yes, he should know that we don't play by his rules when he's not here.
I'm taking Tennessee against Jacksonville for the defense.
Tennessee, okay. David?
Yeah, Tennessee versus Jacksonville.
Justin?
Yeah, me too.
And Rich?
I'm taking Cards.
That would have been my second choice. I don't hate that either.
One vote for the Cardinals and 3 votes for the Titans. Take the Titans playing Jacksonville. I feel like that is a safe bet. Rich is wishing everybody a good morning because he's better than us. Andrew says pick 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. We already did this one. Uncle Steve, or as Justin affectionately calls him, Funkle Steve.
Oh.
Well, I said affectionately, not, wait a second. That is affectionately too. Gosh darn it. Cousins or Winston. And we have to keep them in the back of your Brainhauser group. This is a revenge game for Kirk Cousins. Justin, you go first.
Cousins. And Winston faces the Steelers again. He had 13, almost 13 and a half points 2 weeks ago again, and that's in 6 point per passing touchdown, which didn't matter because he did not get a passing touchdown against the Steelers 2 weeks ago. So I think this one's pretty easily Cousins for me.
Mark?
God, Cousins has been so bad as of late. Oh, I'm going to go Winston.
Winston, okay. Rich, you had your thumbs up for Cousins. I'm assuming you're staying Cousins. And David?
Do you need to ask? Winston's playing the Steelers.
I should have known. I had a feeling where you were going. I just needed confirmation, okay?
Yeah, Cousins is bad against tough defenses, but he's good against weaker defenses, and the Vikings secondary is not good. So look for Cousins to bounce back. Revenge game.
Yep. All right. Next question here from Brandon. Marvin Harrison Jr., Devonta Smith, or D-Hop? He's got to start 2. So who are you sitting from this group? And we'll start with David.
Sorry, I was responding to Jason. He said, take the day off and all the rules get broken. And I said, you're not here. The new rule was there are no rules.
Host makes the rules. We've established this.
I'm going to go Devonta and MHJ.
All right. Let me write these down because I'm not going to be able to remember. Mark?
I'm benching Devontae.
All right. So we got 2 for Marv, 1 for Smith, and 1 for D-Hop. Rich?
Yeah, I'm benching D-Hop.
Benching D-Hop. All right. And Justin?
I'm benching Devonta.
All right. So that means I've got a tie to break because we got 4 for Marvin Harrison. So everybody says start him. 2 for Smith and 2 for D-Hop. And with that, I'm going to go with Devonta Smith in a good matchup with no Dallas Goedert. I just think he's going to have a great game with no Dallas Goedert there. Brandon also says PPR, DJ Moore, or Jalen Waddle. Rich, I'm going to start with you in a minute. Let's go there.
DJ Moore.
All right, DJ Moore. Mark?
Jalen Waddle.
1 for Waddle, 1 for Moore. Justin?
DJ Moore.
2 for Moore, 1 for Waddle. David?
I'll take more.
3 for Moore, 1 for Waddle. See, Bobby Ham, happy Sunday, but not really sure if you started Reed like I did. I don't own good players on my team, so I did not start Reed this week, even though he bombed for everybody else. Russ Wilson or Will Levis or Brock Purdy, please and thank yous. Mark, let's start with you.
Will Levis against Jacksonville.
I mean, why not? He's going to throw at least 3 passes to a Kane, 4 of them for touchdowns. Justin?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Will Levis also. It's a sweet matchup.
David?
Same.
Rich?
Purdy. He's playing Chicago.
All right, that's 3 for Purdy. I'm sorry, 1 for Purdy, 3 for Levis. And we got Devonta Smith or Xavier Worthy, half-point PPR flex. Keep in mind, this is a team where Reed had 0. So we're looking for some upside here. Justin?
All right. Well, I mean, if you're looking for some upside, Xavier Worthy does have that touchdown upside. I don't know. It's hard for me to bench Devonta Smith in this particular situation just because I've been so down on Worthy's usage. But the last few weeks, they've been targeting Worthy more, and he's been more fantasy relevant, or at least had the higher opportunity to get more fantasy points of recently. So I think in this situation, I might actually go Worthy. Just in that injury, that hamstring injury to Smith, until I see it, I like to avoid hamstring injuries if I can. That's the only reason it's even close. Otherwise, I would have went Smith in a heartbeat. So I'm talking myself into it. I'm going to go Worthy.
All right, we got 1 for Smith, 1 for Worthy. Justin talked himself into changing his mind. That's what you like to see. Be water, always flow, always flexible. Mark?
I'm going with the guy who hasn't scored negative points in 1 week this season, so I'm going with Devonta Smith.
All right, that's 2 for Smith, 1 for Worthy, and Richard?
Smith.
3 for Smith, 1 for Worthy. Go with Smith here.
Hey, looky here. Appreciate you, Krana. Thank you very much. You are awesome.
Krana, we absolutely appreciate you, and I've lost my my position on the queue here. Give me a second. I will find it. It's all good.
I just thought that was important. Yep.
It was more important than where I was. I could find it. Here we go. This is where we were. Here's where we're going. I was going to go to Rich first because it involved the Raider, but that's fine. We'll go with Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, Catch Dog by the Toe. Justin. Braylon Allen. Okay. Mark.
Braylon Allen. And I'm pretty sure Rich will say the same thing with his legacy game.
I mean, it's a Raider. I don't put nothing past. He's not David. He's not always going against his team one way or another. David, who you got? Abdullah or Allen?
I'm going to go Allen.
All right, that's 3 for Allen. I'm pretty sure Rich would have went with the legacy game here as well. So we'll go 4 for Allen. That's where I would have went on as well. Here we go, David. I need you to prepare for this. Are we starting the Steelers defense with confidence, or should I drop them for Tennessee, Arizona, or New Orleans? I don't want to drop the Broncos defense. I would not drop the Broncos defense. I would drop Bo Nix. David, you get to go first.
No, yeah, I'm down with the Steelers defense though.
Okay. Justin?
Yeah, I think I would still stick with the Steelers defense as well. The reason this question is popping up, I'm assuming, is because of championship week and the week before. But we've still got another week or two before we hit that skid. Hang on to them. So let's see what happens with other players and injuries to those defenses and those matchups. Worry about that later. You're looking good at defense. If you still have the Broncos too and the Steelers, you'll be fine.
Yep. Mark?
The only way I'm dropping them is if you are in a situation where you need to win to get into the playoffs and you lose, you're out. But I don't want to lose the Steelers just for 1 week at Tennessee if I don't have to. But if you absolutely need it, then go Tennessee because you still have the Broncos. But if you can avoid it, avoid it.
But I mean, for this week with the Steelers, I think you're still going to be just fine. You may not score what Tennessee's going to score, but you're going to do just fine this week.
Yeah, and I am paying attention to chat, and I know we're a little behind. We're about to start some rapid fire. Just so you guys know, I am paying attention. Juan Pena wants to know who for his wide receiver 2 and running back 2 and flex. So let's start with the wide receivers. Jennings, Worthy, Myers, Mooney, Westbrook, Akina. Who you guys starting? Let's go with Mark first.
I'm trying not to get lost in this question here. So
just go right to the bench. Pick a wide receiver. Jennings, Worthy, Myers, Mooney, Westbrook, Akina.
I'm gonna go Myers here.
Okay.
I think
David?
he gets enough targets to outdo Akine's touchdown.
Well, first off, unless I'm missing something, is Charbonnet the only running back?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that answers the RB2 question.
Yes, that's why. Yeah. Add MVS to the wide receivers. That doesn't change your mind, does it, Mark?
No.
No, I didn't think it would. David, pick a wide receiver.
Mooney.
All right. So we got one for Mooney. Let me write these down. Who was yours again, Mark? I'm sorry.
Myers.
Rich.
Myers.
Justin.
Myers.
All right. Now we need a flex. So of that same group, pick a flex. Justin, we'll start with you.
Mooney.
Mark.
I'm gonna go with the running back Charbonnet.
No.
Sharps is already
Charbonnet's
in
not
as the
enough.
RB2.
Okay, then Akine. Sorry.
All right, Rich.
I'm going Jennings.
All right, and I think David's the last one.
I'm going to go Akine.
All right, so total them up. We got your starting Myers, your starting Charbonnet, and it comes down to either Mooney or Akine. I'm going to take Mooney to break the tie because Mooney and Akina were 2-2. So start Myers, start Mooney, start Charbonnet. Should I pick up Tucker Kraft for tight end depth? I've got Kittle.
Yep.
Yeah, depending on who you're dropping, yeah. I mean, if it's involving any of these guys here, yeah, I would probably drop. I'd probably drop Worthy for him, to be honest.
Yeah, Kraft could be a great flex option. So.
Yep. All right, we'll go down here. Andrew Miller wants to know, is Raheem Mostert droppable? I'm going to take this one as the Dolphin fan here. Drop him. That's all you need to know. Go ahead and drop him. Brandon Williams, PPR tight end, picked up Calcara, or go Knox, Fant, Monroe, or Gray. David, we'll start with you.
Damn. I like Knox or Gray better than Calcaterra. If I had to choose between the two because of my, like I said, high scoring game between the Chiefs and Chargers, I'm going to go Gray.
Okay, we got one for Gray. Justin's going Gray. Rich?
I'm going gray too.
All right, that's 3. And Mark, are you going to clean sweep it?
Yeah, I mentioned on our Tuesday show that I like Gray going forward. I think they're just trying to find ways to get him involved and lessen the load a little bit on Kelsey. So I like Gray.
All right. Dustin says, good morning. Need two, 1 RB, and I'm assuming here. Need 1 RB and 1 flex. Rashad White, Bucky Allen, Jalen Warren, Quentin Johnson if Ladd doesn't play. Let's do the RB first. Justin, we'll go to you. Rashad White, Bucky, or Jalen Warren?
I guess give me Bucky as my RB.
Rich?
Bucky.
David?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bucky.
Mark?
Bucky, I'll kick off the next question too. I'm going to start both of the Tampa Bay running backs.
Perfect. So I was going to start with you there as well. Okay, start both of the Tampa Bay running backs. It's unanimous.
Now, if that's a question saying if Ladd plays, he's in that flex spot, I'm taking Ladd. Just
Yeah, I would flex Ladd over White for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
But if there's points for dropped passes, I'm definitely going Johnston.
For sure.
So we're on the page.
In a separate league, Juwan Jennings, Rashard White, Jacoby Myers, Tyrone Tracy, Darnell Mooney, Zach Charbonnet, MVS, or Tank Bigsby.
Start D. I'm gonna go with the D.
It's standard non-PPR. So in a standard league, he's got to pick a flex.
Just one.
Just one.
One? Yeah. Oh.
Of this group. Go ahead, Darren.
I can start. Sorry. I thought you were really
Tracy?
thinking about it there. Darnell Mooney for me.
I'll double up on Tracy.
2 for Tracy, 1 for Mooney.
I'm doing Sharp.
Rich is doing Sharps. And we kind of got a tie because I would have went with Sharps too. I guess my vote doesn't count. So it's Tyrone Tracy. But if I did have a vote, I would have went for Sharps and tied it with Tracy. So Dustin, hopefully it helped a little bit there. What's a taxi squad, Mark? Mark, do you want to give a quick soliloquy on what a taxi squad is?
So in some dynasty leagues, you have a taxi squad. There's different rules for what qualifies as a taxi player. It's usually rookies and second-year players. You can have it on a taxi squad. You set that at the beginning of the year. You can bring them up to your roster at any point during the season, but you can't add to a taxi squad during the season. So if you want to bring a player from a taxi squad to your roster, now, say you had 3 taxi squad players, now you only have 2, and you have to drop somebody from your roster to move that taxi squad player into your active roster.
In NFL terms, it's basically your practice squad.
Outside of the fact you can't move between,
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
you can only
depending on the league.
you only can go one way with it.
Right. And nobody else can steal them from you either, like they can in the NFL.
Dude, that would be fun. If you could go into other players' taxi squads and bring them up to your roster.
I've been in leagues where you can do that. As a matter of fact, I've been in leagues where you can pull them in and out of your taxi as well. Like our Patriots. What
I'm saying is like I could go onto your taxi squad, Justin, and pluck one of your players from the taxi, put them on my roster.
I know what you're saying, and I have been in leagues like that, and it's been.
I have not. That would be fun, but it would suck when it happens to you.
So you said there's leagues where you can move them back and forth?
So in our Patreon-only IDP Dynasty League, you can move players from your taxi squad to your main roster, but not once you've started them as a starter. If you've made them as a starter, they can't go back into their taxi. But you can pull them up. That way, if you've got injury issues, you're thinking about it, you may have to start them, game time decisions. But then if you don't actually physically start them, then you can go ahead and throw them back on your taxi after the week if you want. So
that makes sense. I was just wondering, what makes it different than an extra bench spot, but the starting thing.
Right.
Makes sense.
Instead of waiting until Sunday morning or maybe Sunday afternoon and there wasn't that game time decision and you ran out of guys that you can pick up and that sort of stuff. So
All right.
but no, that league I was in where you could actually pluck guys off of opponents' taxi squads was pretty phenomenal because, Pete, you have to be super careful of who you leave on your taxi squad. A guy blows up and then you only have like a week to pull him up. If you forget he's sitting there on your taxi squad, you lose Puka Nakua after week 2. That's pretty crazy.
I've got a league right now that I'm in. It's Dynasty League. And Brock Bowers is sitting on my taxi squad right now. There's no chance in heck he would be on that taxi squad if somebody could pluck him from me.
Exactly.
Dustin wants to know not Elijah Warren. Jalen Warren, Elijah Moore, can't catch Johnson or Bucky at flex, half point PPR. It does involve a Steeler, so we're going to start with David.
We basically already answered this question just a second ago, except for Elijah Moore's in it. But I'm going to go Bucky.
Yeah, me too.
Is everybody going Bucky? All right. That's where I would go as well. Mini Jordan 718 wants to know, full PPR, Ladd McConkey or Jacoby Myers. Because it involves a Raider, we're going to go to Rich.
I mean, I'm starting Ladd McConkey over Myers and stuff like that. But in a situation where we don't know if he's playing, I'm just going to go ahead and stick Myers in the lineup.
All right. Justin's in agreement. Mark?
100%. I'm going Myers just because, like, if Ladd doesn't play, I realize you could have people you can swap in, but they're not going to be as good as Myers is. So I'm not going to risk losing out on Myers' production with the chance Ladd doesn't play.
David?
I'm going to go Myers just because of the time difference in the games. It's Ladd if he plays. If you hear beforehand that he's playing, throw in Ladd, but I'm going to go Myers. I actually have to cut out, guys. I had to get out of here on time. Carly has a choir concert downtown that I have to see before the Steelers game. So,
hey, good luck this week. Hours.
Yeah, no doubt. It's been a crazy season, so we'll see. Yeah. All right, see you guys.
Take it easy, buddy.
And I want to point out that will break his streak of answering all the questions. All right, we'll go to the next one. We got Titans defense or Bucks defense. Because this involves the Raiders, I'm going to start with Rich.
Yeah, I'm going Titans defense.
Mark? Titans? Okay. We got Juwan Jennings or Westbrook Akine. Justin, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go with Ikea just because they have been giving him more attempts lately, and I think that that 49ers offense is going to have to rely more heavily on the run. This is the first close one, and I think the first one I've actually chose Westbrook on, so I'm going to go with Westbrook Ikea.
I am definitely starting Ikea.
And Rich?
Yeah, so simple question to answer this real quick. You guys have Akine ranked over Jennings this week? Or just because of his – okay, I'm going Jennings because I have Jennings ranked higher. So,
yeah, I have Jennings slightly higher. I got Jennings at 15. Hold on, I'll find Akine. There he is, 36. So just a little bit higher. A little higher on Jennings than I am on Akine this week. We will go next one. Dustin wants to know Trey McBride or Jonnu Smith. This is a standard scoring league. Rich, I hate that we're blocking your face, but we're going to go with you first.
Yeah, so interesting fact. I've had this guy in one of my leagues offer me Jonnu like 6 weeks in a row, and I keep on telling him, no, I don't need him because I have Kittle and Otten and everything. But Jonnu has just been going off and going off and going off. Do I regret making the move? No, I don't. I'm going McBride.
All right. Mark?
I'm going McBride as well. What Jonnu's done has been crazy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm still going McBride.
And Justin?
Okay. I'm going to go McBride, and I'm also going to say Dustin. I'm making this the guaranteed touchdown of the week for the weekly thing that I like to do when I do remember to do it. So if McBride does not get a touchdown, then Dustin, your next 3 months of Patreon will be sent back to you for your constant support for the team. So I'm either guaranteeing you a touchdown from McBride and you'll be happy, or you don't get the touchdown from McBride and you'll be happy. So either way, it's a win-win here. So I'm going McBride.
It's a clean sweep for McBride, 3-0.
Hell of a guy, Justin. Hell of a guy.
Who would you not like to see come back next season? Aaron Rodgers or Mike McCarthy coaching?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
You gotta pick one.
The answer is yes.
Okay, I can answer this. Well, for me, if the choice are these two, it's got to be Mike McCarthy because I want to see Aaron Rodgers go to Minnesota and complete the whole Brett Favre. I don't know how do you want to word that?
Justin hates JJ McCarthy, is what I'm hearing.
No, it's not that. But everybody's thinking this about the Aaron Rodgers thing. I guarantee you, it's in everybody's single head. Everybody wants to go to Minnesota.
We want it. It's not going to happen, but we want it.
Okay, let's play this game, and I know we're running behind, but we'll get out of here by 12:30. If Aaron Rodgers plays next season, where do you think is a realistic spot for him to play?
CFL.
No, it's going to be in the NFL. He ain't. Listen, he's going to run for office before he plays in college or Canada. Excuse me.
Sunnyside retirement home, flag football league.
Yeah,
I mean,
XFL.
It's got to be the Jets because he controls everything there.
So the Jets versus the Jets. Justin, what do you think? If he plays next season, where do you think Jets?
It'll be the Jets. Yeah,
I hope so. God, I hope so. Drop Mooney for Charbonnet. Already have Puka, JJ, Jennings, Myers, or I can drop McBride if Jonnu is better for the playoffs.
No and no. Because you're dropping Mooney for 1 week of Charbonnet heading into the playoffs. That's not a smart move, even with your depth at receiver. And I just chose McBride over Jonnu, so I'm not dropping him either.
I wouldn't do this. And the reason why is I'm not starting Mooney over Puka or Justin Jefferson. And then it comes down to Jennings, Myers, and Mooney. I would probably start Myers more often than not over Mooney. And I might even consider Jennings. So I would have Mooney at the 5th wide receiver where I can at least pick up a starting running back. And with Ken Walker and his history of injuries, like there's no guarantee this is a 1 week injury with Ken Walker.
What happens you get into the playoffs, though, and Jetta gets hurt or something?
If he gets hurt, and if you're in the playoffs and Jetta gets hurt, you're not advancing in the playoffs anymore. That's what's going to happen.
Let's say Myers gets hurt. Let's take it down.
Then you drop Myers for Mooney.
What Mooney could be gone by then, though, and he most likely will be by a playoff team.
The wide receiver position is so deep. I would absolutely do it. The position of value. A starting running back potentially, at least this week, and who knows going forward.
Dustin, who are your other running backs? Because that's really what this comes down to. Because, Mooney's your wide receiver 5, but Mooney is very startable on a lot of teams that you don't want to face in the playoffs. Sharps just isn't worth it to me unless your running backs are just really weak.
There's been no news there's just been no news that's come out that makes me believe Walker's injury is anything more than a week. So I just don't want to do it for 1 week when you're not even going to be able to use the player you're picking up in the playoffs.
For me, you'll be able to use Charbonnet in the playoffs.
When Walker's played, Charbonnet has been useless.
That's it. Yeah, that's if it's more than 1 week. Yes, I agree. Listen, I have Charbonnet in a couple of leagues. He's not startable on the weeks where Walker is available. That's true. Absolutely true. With Pickens out, should I pick up Kelvin Austin or flex Tyrone Tracy? Rich?
Tyrone Tracy.
Mark?
Yeah, I'm flexing Tyrone Tracy, but somebody's got to catch balls in Pittsburgh.
It's going to be Austin and probably
Freiermuth.
Freiermuth, to be honest. Yeah. Or Warren. With Neighbors active, roll with him or Mooney PPR. Justin?
Neighbors. If he's active, you got to roll with Neighbors in this one.
Mark?
Yeah, I'm Neighbors.
Rich?
Neighbors, but back to that last question. Isn't Mike Williams there now too?
Does it matter?
Well, I'm
No,
just saying,
Mike Williams is in the Jets, isn't he? Or did they cut
oh,
him?
I
No,
think
they
he
cut
got
him.
traded.
Oh, no, he's with the Steelers.
Yeah, he got
He's
traded
a
to
Steelers?
the Steelers. So
He went in and got a
oh,
touchdown
okay.
his first week with the Steelers.
And then did nothing
He
ever since. That's
disappeared.
Right.
That's why I
right.
forgot about him already. Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I'm like, no, he's with the Jets.
You're right. You're right. Somebody's got to catch it. Could be Mike Williams this week for sure.
It's going to be the nastiest Najee Harris game ever. With Uncle Steve here, with Perkins out, do you go Calvin Austin over Xavier Worthy? Mark, we'll go to you.
Yeah, I'm going Austin over Worthy.
Rich?
Same.
Justin?
I mean, so Calvin Austin kind of has the whole IKEA or Westbrook IKEA syndrome going these last couple of weeks.
Yep.
I mean, 3 targets, touchdown, 2 targets, touchdown. Without the touchdowns, they're just games, like just regular games. Worthy's starting to get more targets, and I know he's going to get more targets, obviously, with Pickens out. But this is a tough matchup. I think I'm still going to go lean towards Xavier Worthy.
All right, but that was 2 for Austin and 1 for Worthy. Wrong mouse. Let me get the right one. Bobby Ham says Madison is inactive. Does that change your answer? No, I don't think it does. And we
Because of
will
how
go.
long ago you posted that.
Yeah. Connor Abdullah, Braylon Allen, sit 1.
Easy. Sit Abdullah.
Yeah.
All right. I was going to go to Rich first because it did involve a Raider. Justin's agreeing. Mark, do you agree? Sit Amir Abdullah?
Yes.
I would concur with that. Or flex one of those RBs over Worthy or D. Smith. So would you flex Abdullah over Worthy or Devonta Smith in a half-point PPR?
I think I would this week. I'm worried about Devonta's injury, coming off that injury. I'm worried about Xavier Worthy's usage in a tougher matchup this week. I think I would. I think Abdullah's going to get enough consistency at running back this week to justify a high floor, and that's what you want.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely going to say put a starting running back in over Worthy, but Rich has me a little nervous with his inside news on McCormick, but I still think I'd go Abdullah over Worthy.
Hey, Justin, don't do that again. We will get flagged by YouTube if you show the guns again. They do not allow weapons on their streams here. Okay, just don't want us to get flagged because you're showing guns on the stream.
They especially don't like it when you say that word. So thanks.
You're welcome. Well, now they'll watch it to see what I was referring to, and they're like, "Oh, it was just his massive arms." Dustin wants to know. Now I'm definitely not dropping McBride based on Justin's offer. So there you go.
See, now Dustin's not a degen like some of us gamblers, because you might try to start Jonnu and get a free Patreon.
Yeah.
Win-win on both sides.
Yeah, no, McBride still hasn't scored that elusive receiving touchdown all season, so he's gonna get it this week.
I love these hypothetical questions. Cronin wants to know, where does Darnold go next year? We'll start with that one. Justin, give me a team for Sam Darnold.
Let's just complete this circle. He's gonna go back to the Jets.
Love it. Mark?
I think he stays at Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Yeah.
Rich?
Yeah, I mean, they're better off keeping him just in case with McCarthy because they already know what they got with him in the offense. So you might as well keep him as a backup in case McCarthy comes out and doesn't do anything.
All right. And where will Daniel Jones play next year? Rich, we'll go to you.
Actually, that's not what it says. It says, will Daniel Jones play at all?
So in order to play, he's got to be on a team. So let's just go with what team will he be on?
He'll go to the Raiders because the Raiders will bring him in to kind of bridge with when they bring in Shador.
I actually think the Raiders will take Travis Hunter, but that's just me. That seems like a Raiders pick right there. Something flashy, something fun, something a little fast. Justin?
I would say the Colts, but he's about 15 years too young for the Colts at this point. So, yeah, I don't really care. Let's move on.
Mark?
Yeah,
I still say the Eagles.
He's going to sign somewhere as a backup. I have no idea where it is. I don't think it's going to be a team like the Raiders or because whoever signs them is going to have to give up a compensatory draft pick with Minnesota signing them the way they did. So I don't think a team with a higher draft pick is going to
that's not how the compensatory picks work. The team doesn't give up a compensatory pick. They get assigned a compensatory pick by the NFL. So the team that signs him literally doesn't lose anything by signing him.
Okay.
And it's based upon the contract on which he signed. And if the higher the compensatory pick is based upon how much money he signs for at that position.
Gotcha. Okay. Then
yeah.
Scratch.
Yeah, it's also tied to playing time and all that. Like there's a whole formula that they use to figure that stuff out. I'm going to say Sam Darnold goes to the Colts next year. I think that makes sense, and I'm going to say Daniel Jones will go to the Dolphins, and the Dolphins will make him the highest paid backup in the NFL.
I still want Jones to go to the Eagles, though. So that's going to be my final
answer. I wouldn't mind seeing Daniel Jones in Washington either, backing up Jaden Daniels.
I mean, Dallas already screwed us by not signing him for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Daniel says Monty Brown. I'm not sure what he's referring to there, Dustin. I'm sorry about that. He says Tracy.
To others.
He probably is. And then he says Darnold to the Giants. I don't see Darnold to the Giants. I think the Giants are going to invest in a rookie, and they're going to make the mistake and play the rookie week one and not allow him to learn.
It would make sense though to have a veteran backup.
It absolutely would, but unfortunately, Joe's not here to defend himself. But we're talking about the Giants.
Yeah.
So I said we'd get out of here. I knew we were running a little behind. I said we'd get out of here by 12:30. It is currently 12:17 Eastern Standard Time. That is it. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the other chat with between us. Jason said, wait till next week. There will be extra rules. I said it's the last show of the season, playoffs next week. He says we do playoff shows. I said new rules. Host makes the rules. So apparently, because I'm hosting, I can say whether or not we're doing a show next week. We probably will, but I know Jason's not watching, so we're just going to pretend that we're not doing a show next week, and then we'll surprise him last minute as, "Hey, are you coming in to host or not? What are you doing? You know we do a show on Sundays." So with that, Dustin says Giants always take the wrong quarterback in drafts. That's not true. They did get Eli Manning. They traded Philip Rivers. I feel like that was the correct move. They got a bunch of picks for Eli Manning as well, or for Philip Rivers thrown into that deal to get Eli Manning. Eli Manning won them 2 Super Bowls. It worked out. With that, I want to thank everybody for the questions today. Don't forget, we have patreon.com/toilets to titles. Excuse me. We have a tier that will fit your budget, whether it's the $2.99 tier, which is our lowest tier, to the tier where Mark will come over and share his chicken tenders with you. And trust me, that tier is not cheap. If you think Mark is sharing his chicken tenders, he's not. but for the right price, he can be bought, and he will definitely share some tenders with you. With that, I want to wish everybody good luck this week. It's been a heck of a ride. It's almost kind of depressing that the fantasy season is almost over. It seems like it just started yesterday. With that, I want to wish everybody have a great weekend.